All right, today we're going to go over the layout tools that's used in construction. Okay. All right, today we're going to go over our layout tools. The first tool we're going to go over the speed square. Okay, speed square. Aluminum, shaped like a triangle, 90 degrees. When we refer to the term square in construction, we're looking for 90 degrees, right angles. Okay, this forms a right angle. Next tool we're going to talk about the combination square. Okay. They have different sizes in this. This one right here is a smaller one, 6-inch one that I keep in my pouch or my apron in the shop. A movable blade. And it has numbers right here. Next we have our good old tape measure. All right. This tool right here scares a lot of folks in the industry. Okay. Like I say in my class, if you don't use it a lot, you tend to forget. In this classroom, you're going to be using a tape measure a lot. We're going to start off learning about sixteenths, okay, quarters, halves. So we're going to talk about the tape measure. Now we're going to discuss our marker board. Everyone should have a 2x4, okay, 24 inches long. You're going to use your tape measure. For our first mark, you're going to measure 2.5 inches, okay? So what you want to do is pull the tape measure out. 2.5, mark it. Get your speed square. This is your fence right here. You want your fence flat on that piece of wood, okay? At the top, flat. Do your mark. We're going to transfer this mark all around the board. Right there. Right there. That's our first measurement. Our next measurement, we're going to do 4 3/4. Pull this out. 4 3/4. Mark it. Get your speed square. Same thing. All around. Our next measurement, we're going to do 6 5/8. 6 5/8. Pull out our tape. 6 5/8. Mark it. Speed square, flat. You want the fence flat on the piece of wood. Mark it. Transfer this mark all around. So right now, what you should have 3 measurements: 2.5, 4 3/4, 6 5/8. Those marks are going all around the board. All around. Our next measurement, we're going to go from this edge right here, 8 inches. Pull it out. 8. Just measure it. We're not going to go all around on this one. 8 inches. And once you do that, I want you to do this quarter of a circle right here to show that this is a right angle. 90 degrees, a right angle. Our next measurement, what we're going to do a 45 degrees right here. So we're going to get our square, pull it all the way down, that our fence is right there. Make sure you go to the end point, our mark of 8 inches. Line this up. .45 degrees. Draw this right here. Mark 45 degrees. And let's have that labeled. Okay. So this is what we got so far. 2.5 inches right here. 4 3/4 right here. 6 5/8 right here, 8 inches, which is our 90 degrees right here, and our 45 degrees right here. Now next, we're going to work on different degrees we're going to demonstrate right here. And we're going to label them at the top. So we have 5, 15, 25, 35, and 45. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do 5 degrees. If you look on your square, you see this right here where it says pivot. We're going to put this right here on the corner. Okay? It's right there on the corner. So now we're going to look at on this side, this 5 degrees that's right here. Hold that pivot. And you want that 5 degrees lined up on the edge right here. That's our 5 degree mark right there. So from the corner where it's pivoted at, draw a mark. That's 5. See it? Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to 15 now. Okay? Right there. We're going to go to 25. Right there. 35. Right there. And then we're going to do our 45. Right there. And we want to label them. 5, 15, 25, 35, and 45. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to use our combination square right here and divide this 2 by 4 in half, okay? The 2 by 4 is 3.5 inches wide, even though it's a 2 by 4. The actual size is 3.5. So half of 3.5, if you don't know, is 1 3/4. So I'm going to get my combination square. We're going to adjust that to 1 3/4. Tighten this wheel up. Put this right there. Hold it. This is a fence as well. You want this fence right up against the wood. And trace this coming down. You're going to write combination square right here. 1 3/4 like I have right here. Last but not least, we're going to lay out our first stud. Let's act like this is our bottom plate, top plate, and we have to lay out our studs. So what we want to do right now, we want to establish our first stud right here. So from this edge to this edge, we want to measure 1.5 inches. Get our tape, 1.5 inches, mark it. I'm going to use the combination square. This one you can use whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable with. Put that right there. Make sure that the fence is flat on the wood. Draw a line. Now from this corner, from this point right here to the corner, you want to draw a diagonal. Same thing right here. Diagonal. This is going to be our first stud that we lay out. Our first stud, our corner stud. Now, we're going to hook our tape on to where our first stud was at. We're going to measure 15 1/4. 15 1/4. Let's get this right here. Mark it. 15 1/4. 16 3/4. That's the difference of 1.5 inches. Now I'm going to get my speed square and do the same thing. Mark my 16 3/4. Mark my 15 1/4. My diagonals to make an X. That's our first stud.